Coffee stain badge on a lanyard string. Hotel ballroom, buzzing, fluorescent wings. Name tags, crooked inside jokes. We live on acronyms and conference notes. Late night panels, early flights, still swapping war stories under dim lights. If the world goes sideways, who they gonna call? The weirdos taking roll in the expo hall. IAEM Talks tonight. Yeah, we laugh so we don't lose our minds. Blue skies days to the worst headline. We're the ones still on the lam. IAEM Talks tonight.
No, it wasn't recorded.
Oh, okay.
No, it's recording now, though.
Oh, awesome.
Hey, good afternoon, everybody. I'm Todd DeVoe.
Hey, I'm Josh Morton, president of IAEM-USA.
I guess I'm first vice president.
You
of
are,
IAEM,
yes.
And I have messy hair. We've been traveling, and so we're coming to you live from downtown Kansas City, Kansas.
And Todd, here's the key. If you wear a good hat, then you don't have to worry about your hair. So.
You know what's funny is I actually got one of those hats now, and I didn't wear it. But you know what? That doesn't make a difference. We're not here to talk about hair tonight. We're here to talk about IAEM, where we're going, and we're here for the board meeting. And we're here to talk to you a little bit about what the future is. So obviously in November, we do the transition, and Josh goes to be past president.
Yeah.
So Josh, what's going on with IAEM right now? As in your presidency, where are we at? What have we been doing, and what's some of the exciting stuff that's moving forward for the organization?
Yeah. Well, I think, as I think anyone working in emergency management is probably aware, a lot of our time right now is spent on advocacy, really trying to help shape the narrative about the future of emergency management. We've been dealing with a lot of things on the government affairs front, and really that's nothing new. I mean, that's especially this past year and a half, that has been really a huge focal point for us. Just over the weekend, we had to release a statement regarding the president's proposed budget cuts, which would pretty much eliminate preparedness grants. Mm-hmm. So we're definitely spending a lot of time on that. We're also working on getting member benefits spun up. I know a lot of you that were at the conference heard me talk about that in my speech at the banquet. And it is something that we're working hard to try and make come to fruition. Just a few weeks back, you should have gotten an email announcing that the Samsung member benefit has gone live. And so you can get employee pricing on Samsung products, which is exciting.
Super exciting.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if you need a new washer or dryer or TV, whatever it is you're looking for, you make sure you use your IAEM discount for that. We've still got the Amazon Business Prime that is free to you as a member of IAEM. So we have that for you. And we've got several other things that we're working. We've got the new member benefits committee that Jason Schnault and Michael Tiener are heading up. And so those guys are working on some things. So lots of good things that are happening that maybe we aren't quite ready to be able to announce officially yet. One thing we want to make sure is that we're actually able to make things happen before we put them out there. But lots of good things on that front. Another thing, we're starting the planning for this year's National Emergency Management Awareness Month. Last year was the first annual, and so we're looking forward to do it again this August.
Doing some advocacy.
Yeah, absolutely.
Looking at doing some stuff with the Hill and doing some knocking and talking to some of the members of Congress and Senate. So it's a nice thing to be able to talk to them. My experience when I went last year, they were very interested in learning more about what we do as emergency managers and how we help the constituents. And we take that approach. It's not telling them to vote for this bill or that bill. That's not what we're here to do. We're here to talk about what is emergency management and how do we impact their communities. And a lot of them were really excited to talk to us and learn more. So it was let's move forward. Now we got the benefits coming up, which I know the Samsung thing is super exciting. When people ask you, Josh, why should you become an IAEM member? That's one of the big number one questions I always get. What's your answer to that?
For me, I've told this story a dozen times. I joined IAEM back in 2013 because I wanted to go to the conference. That's the only reason I joined. Okay, that just full transparency. Did not have any thought in my mind that I would be sitting here 13 years later as the president of the association. But, for me, I joined because I wanted to go to the conference and I wanted to see what that was all about. And what I found was this community of people that I have connected with that have really become another family for me. And I have friends all across the country, and I know that you can do a lot of that stuff, through LinkedIn and things like that these days, but it's not the same as sitting down in a room with somebody and getting to know them. And, yes, the professional level is important, but I know these people on a personal level. And so when there's something going on, Hurricane Helene, was huge in my community. And I can't tell you how many members of IAEM reached out to me, not because I was on the board, but because they knew me and we'd become friends over the years. And that, I think, above any member benefit that we can put in place, that is the most valuable part of this association.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you, we have been doing a lot of outreach to emergency managers who have been involved in some of these largest disasters. You may have received a phone call from one of us or from the board members just to say, hey, how are you? Because you got to remember, like when we're responding to these events, that we want to check on you as a person, as an individual, and then so as a member, we're calling you to say, hey, and again, offering that help if you need anything. And that's what I love about this organization is the people who I've met across the country, and everybody's just willing to collaborate and help. And when you go, hey, I have this today, right? I'm in Kansas City, and I was talking to an emergency manager here in Kansas City about some of the stuff that we're doing with FIFA. And he's like, yeah, let's talk. Let's trade notes. Let's see, where we can kind of learn from each other. And it's through this organization that allows us to do that more so than through LinkedIn. I mean, yes, LinkedIn works, but it's always a stranger, right? Like I have 10,000 people that I'm connected to on LinkedIn. I don't know them.
And I know I'm one of the old people that likes to sit down and have a conversation with somebody. I know that. And I know Todd's older than me, but Todd's more hip into the social media stuff than I am. I know I'm not great at it. But the thing is, I see so much value in that personal contact of sitting down, having a conversation with somebody. And this association has let me build the relationships. Now I can pick up the phone and call emergency managers all across the world that, I know them.
Yeah, that's you broke bread with them. You've had conversations with them. It's not somebody who you just send a random text to in the middle of on social media. Yeah. I think that's important. So where do you see, Josh, this association going? Obviously you're coming to midway through your administration. Where do you see us moving in the next couple of years? Say let's next 5 years or so.
Yeah. Well, for me, I think one of the things that we have done over the past couple of years is we have been extremely intentional about trying to connect what each president is doing and what the first vice president and the second vice president are doing and planning to do. A lot of times things, don't always get transitioned administration to administration. And so I think that is one thing that I hope people will remember from this time period is that we've been very intentional about that. I will say, I sort of feel this way, and I think Carrie probably has the same experience. Unfortunately, a lot of the things that we really wanted to do kind of got hijacked over the past year and a half with everything that's been going on in the emergency management world. But, we have been working really hard to try and stabilize things and to be a leading voice in Washington and across the nation. And I will say I feel like we're making some headway there. Are we where we'd love to be? Not yet, but we're getting there. But I'm really excited about where we're heading over the next few years. I hope to see us growing. I hope to see us expanding. I think that we still have a lot of great things to offer our members, and I'm looking forward to the evolution of that. Judd Freed, who was president back in 2021, came in 2020, I think. Judd and I had a conversation one time when he was president. He said, this is sort of the farewell tour. By the time you get to be president, you're sort of on your way out already. You've been in a seat for 2 years, and now you're really just trying to pave the way for those that are coming behind you, is really what you're doing. A lot of your presidential year is trying to help lay the groundwork for what your first vice president and second vice president hope to accomplish. So I'll turn that question back to you and say, where do you see us going over the next couple of years? Because you're going to be here longer than I am.
That's a great question, Josh. A couple things. First of all, I want to echo what Josh was saying, that Carrie, Josh, myself, and then of course now we have MJ coming behind me on this one, and whoever the next second VP is, who, when we go to elections here pretty soon, actually. It's been purposeful of saying, hey, let's have a conversation. Let's get everybody on the same page. There's no headbutting going on. It's really working as a team, which I think is really exciting to move things forward.
Todd, before you move on, I want to jump in here and say that is one thing that I'm also really proud of with the team that we have is, it's not about, Josh is doing this or Josh is doing that. And we're going to do this. It's literally, we view this thing as a team, and we move as a unit, and we rise together and we fall together. So, we're not worried about our name being attached to stuff. We're worried about getting the mission done.
Absolutely. And so to piggyback on that, obviously we're going to continue to really amplify our voice, the voice of emergency management, which we need to do today. As we see, there are some things that are coming in the news that isn't favorable towards our profession. And we're here to not just be a sole voice out there. We're echoing thousands of voices in emergency management of what we feel is important as the profession, and also as the association. And yes, we speak for the 6,000 members of the association, which is really nice. And we reach out as well. Now, some people have said to me, hey, do you guys take surveys and polls and stuff? Yeah. We've done this. We're going to do some more of it. So we have that coming up behind us as well. MJ is working on that diligently right now, of surveying the membership to see, if we're going in the right direction and what you guys want to see as well. So please look forward to that coming out. When we look at this organization, I guess we could say there's a couple of them out there, but realistically, as far as the grassroots emergency manager in the trenches, this is where you are to get represented, and I'm happy to be part of that. And we're going to be pushing that voice even louder going into the future. Excuse me. And so that's the big one right there, is they're really amplifying our voice. On the member benefit side of it, things, as Josh was talking about before, we're going to continue to grow that. And we're going to continue to look for leaders in the organization, right? So if you want to be part of what we're doing, if you think that you have stuff to add, which I'm sure everybody out here does, there are ample opportunities for you to be part of leadership. And I think one of the things that we've done in the past that we fixed it, we're fixing it. It's not perfect right yet, but is how do we get people into the pipeline to become leaders, to know what opportunities there are. So this podcast right here is one of the examples of how we're reaching out to you as members of the board to speak to the membership. You can go into the comments section and fill comments out, and we'll be responsive to those.
And speaking of that, we do have our elections coming up this summer. We'll be, I believe, the call for candidates is in July. I think that's
July.
right.
Mm-hmm.
One thing I would highly encourage you, if you're interested in getting on the board, a regional position is one of the best places that you can start. Todd and I both started as regional presidents, And it's a great way to sort of get introduced to the board and everything that's going on. We also have our secretary position will be up for re-election this year, so that position is there. And as far as the regional presidents, this year is an even number. So if you are in an even numbered region, that
2, 4, 6, 8, 10.
2, 4, 6, 8, 10, you will be having regional elections this year. So again, those are great opportunities to get started on the board. If you are interested in committee or caucus leadership, I would encourage you to start reaching out to Todd now, as he will be appointing the committee leaders next year. And then the caucuses, we started a couple years ago, the caucuses actually self-select their leaders. So I would encourage you, if you're interested in caucus leadership, to reach out to the current leadership of your caucus and start having those conversations.
Yeah, let's talk about caucuses and committees for a minute. So IAEM, we've broken down into several caucuses, and this is where the work gets done. We hear from the caucuses of things that they need, that they're working on. So we'll talk about some of the most active ones. So
well, before we do that, let's kind of get into. So we have a few different types of groups in IAEM, and I would encourage you, if you're a member of IAEM, to get involved in a group in some way. So we have the commissions. There's only 2 commissions, and those are a little more formal as far as how you get involved there, and that's scholarship and CEM commission. And so there are some criteria that you have to meet to get involved in those. Outside of those, the next thing is our committees. And committees, I describe it this way: the committees do the work of the association, the caucuses do the work of the profession.
there you go.
So the committees are things like the awards committee, the conference committee, basically things that are sort of internally. Caucuses are really the folks who are doing the work of the profession. You're out there looking at special interest area, things like disaster cost recovery, weather-related issues, colleges, universities, healthcare. There's a lot of different caucuses, and there's something out there for everybody. And then the last kind of group that we have is consortiums, and this is the newest thing. We only have a couple of those. Consortiums are a little bit different because those are areas where we've recognized a need to partner with some associations outside of IAEM. And so we've basically collaborated to create a group that crosses association lines.
Yeah, and it's easy. Like, if there's something that you're interested in, and say there isn't a caucus associated with it yet, if you get 20 people to sign up, you can start a caucus as well. The only thing is like anything else, if you're saying that you want to be the leader of that caucus, we are going to expect you to be a leader of the caucus and to do work. So it's not you just start one and then you walk away from it. There's work to be done, and meetings to be held and products to produce, stuff out of it. So it's not just a do nothing part of the organization. It's a very, very important part of what we do. And again, it's another.
And there are requirements for caucuses to take. So, if a group isn't doing anything, it could be on the chopping block.
Yep, that's pretty much true.
Yeah.
So, bye-bye. Yeah. But that being said, this is how, if you want to get into leadership, that's where I started. Actually, I started as a regional representative for the UCC, for the Universities and Colleges Caucus, and I went from there. And I started working at the Region 9, and then I got involved in Region 9, and then I ran for president. And that's what she all she wrote. So it's a really great transition to really get your feet wet into what we're doing as IAEM, and then move up, because I think it's important for you. This is a membership-driven organization, right? This is not some association you pay money into and there's a bunch of people. No, this is membership-driven. And so Josh is going to rotate out. I'm coming up. I'm going to rotate. People have to come in behind us to fill, and that's you. People that are sitting here listening to us today, you have to come behind us and fill up those gaps.
To quote the old country song, "Who's going to fill their shoes?"
Who's going to fill their shoes?
There you go.
Absolutely. So, pretty soon I get to be, Josh is getting there next year. We get to have a badge that says past president on there. And then we just walk around, I guess, and shake people's hands.
Yeah, you become the old guy in the corner at the conference.
I already am the old guy in the corner of the conference. I'm just older guy in the corner. So, but it's exciting, right? I mean, and I love to see people that want to get involved. And if you want to, reach out to me. I have an email that's available to you. It's Todd at IAEM.com. Josh is Josh at IAEM.com. So reach out and just say, hey, this is what I want. I want to get involved somehow. And I'll talk your ear off about it and get you roped into something for sure.
We have plenty of work and not enough hands, so absolutely get involved.
So, Josh, we're here this week at the board retreat. Talk a little bit about the board retreat and what the goals and objectives are and why we're here.
Yeah, so the IAEM-USA Board of Directors, we meet monthly via conference call, and we get together twice a year for in-person board meetings. One of those happens at the conference, and then the other one happens somewhere in the March-April timeframe, and that meeting is usually 2 to 3 days long. It really is our biggest meeting of the year as far as the agenda goes. This is the meeting where we set the agenda for the year. We sort of do strategic visioning for the year, talk about the overall direction of the association and where we're heading, get a jump on strategic planning. And all of those things are on the agenda for this week, as well as kind of buttoning down some other issues that we've got going. But really, it is a jam-packed few days with very little downtime and a lot of work to get done. But we've got a great team this year. Our entire board is great and doing great work. And can't say enough good things about our board this year. And I'm excited to see what we come up with by the end of the week.
Yeah, me too. And I'm always excited to be in the same room with the board members and feed off the energy that we have here. And it's exciting to see the board moving cohesively together and having good conversations. That's another thing too, is, we do have open debate on about things. So it's not like we just rubber stamp things. There's definitely none of that. We have deep conversations sometimes.
I don't remember the last time something got rubber stamped.
Me either.
But that's a good thing, though.
Yeah.
Right? It should be discussed and debated.
Yeah. But the thing is, we come together to a conclusion, and the good part about it is everybody hears everybody's side in the conversation. There's no right now. I'm trying to think of past boards, but we'll talk about that.
Well, the thing is, we don't always agree on everything, but we always leave unified and we leave as friends.
Right. But we're also not arguing either.
Exactly.
Right. We're having good conversation, debate, and reason that goes into why we're doing the things we're doing. And my mind's been changed a few times when I walked into a room. Go, okay, I think I'm going to go this way. Yeah. By the time I hear everybody talk, I'm like, this makes much sense to me. If you ever want to attend a board meeting, some of them, how do you do that, Josh?
If you want to attend a board meeting, all you have to do is send staff an email. So you can email Chelsea at IAEM.com. You can also email me directly. Basically, the process is you just have to ask for an invitation and the president has to agree. And I have already told staff, if somebody asks to attend, let them in.
I feel the same way.
Yeah, so we do that. The only exception to that is there are some things that we do have to go into executive session for. And so we try to do that. If it's at a special board meeting, it's one thing. But if it's a regular board meeting, we always try to do that at the end of the meeting or at the beginning of the meeting. That way, if somebody is attending, they're able to see as much of the meeting as they want to.
Yeah, and we try to be as transparent as legally possible. There are things that we can't discuss outside of the board meeting, like the closed session, just due to, I always tell people all the time, if we have to talk about personnel issues, would you want your personnel issue to be broadcasted, right? That's a good example, right? So no, you wouldn't. You want to have the privacy and the dignity and respect. Mm-hmm. And that's what we really use the closed session for, is more so for those things.
That contractual issues, right. If we're having to get legal advice from our attorney, things like that, that kind of stuff happens in executive session.
Yeah, we don't just go into executive session to talk about things, know. So, and I think if you talk to most board members, I can't speak for everybody, but I'll say the majority of the board members would be very transparent about what happens. Yeah. Outside of stuff that we can't share. But again, if you have any questions, reach out to us. Please do. This is why when I proposed doing the podcast last year, it wasn't about just having a podcast. It was really about reaching out to you as the member. This is hopefully when we start going live on a regular basis, you guys can join in, ask questions, and ask the hard questions. And if I don't know the answer, I'll tell you I don't have the answer, but I'll definitely make sure that we research it and staff gets back to you.
And as I said, one thing that you can also do is if you have questions, email us ahead of time, and that way we can have the information and try to go ahead and address it on the podcast.
Yeah.
So.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So some of the things that we're doing, just kind of maybe a preview on what we're doing with this podcast, is we're going to have each of the region presidents on. So that's 1 through 10. And then I talked to Thad today, and I told him that he's going to be on the Thad's our government affairs guy. He'll be on to talk about what's happening when we get closer to the Hill Day. So we're going to have some exciting, say exciting. I don't think they're going to be barn burners, but we're going to have some great conversations. So IAEM conversation, everybody. It's exciting. I don't mean exciting, I don't think we're going to get an Emmy or anything for this, but the cool thing is that we're going to have good conversations about the organization for you. Again, please reach out to me, Todd at IAEM.com, if you have any questions that you want to be answered in this on this podcast. Join the podcast. On the live sessions. We're going to be live on YouTube, Facebook, and LinkedIn. So join us there. Put your questions in the chat, and we'll make sure that if we don't see them during the conversation, we'll definitely have our team scrub them and get those questions answered to you. And all we're asking for on that is just respect both ways. Please don't attack anybody personally or that type of stuff, and you'll be fine. Remember, we still have our IAEM standards that we have to live to, and we don't want anybody to get in trouble for just trying to be silly on the podcast or in the comments.
Now, full disclosure, we're not live today because we have an event that we have to be at 6 o'clock,
Sure.
which is the same time this is going to be posted. So if you're commenting right now, sorry, we don't see it. We're having dinner. So.
All right. Well, we're getting here close to the end, and Josh, since you are the president, I will give it to you to close us out, my friend.
Yeah, I just thank you all for tuning in for our first episode. I'm really looking forward to seeing where this podcast goes. Todd will be the regular host of this. I'm sure I'll be making plenty of appearances, but I'm really excited about this, and I think this is a great way for us to connect with our members. Speaking of connecting, again, find ways to get connected. If you're looking for a place, you say, hey, I just don't know where I fit, call me, email me. I'm happy to sit down and have a conversation with you, and let's find a place to plug you in IAEM. The other thing I would encourage you to do right now, just with everything going on, is especially if you work in government and you are not already connected with your local legislature or your local legislator, your member of Congress, your senator, or also your state representatives.
Mm-hmm.
Make sure that you're getting connected, because right now we need to be having all of those conversations. We need to be encouraging Congress to fully fund emergency management. We also need to be talking to our state legislatures about what happens next, because as we're starting to see these things happen, the states and the local jurisdictions are going to have a plan. And it's something we're working on in our state right now is trying to get creative about this. But I would encourage all of you, if you're not thinking about those things, start thinking about them.
So the South has hurricane season. The West Coast, we just have fire.
Mm-hmm.
We don't have seasons anymore.
Yeah.
And then, so those things are big and they impact us a lot.
Yes.
And we're going to need help to be prepared for those.
Yeah.
Right? Preparedness, this, I'm preaching to the choir, right? Preparedness is all the way.
That's it.
All right. Anything else?
That's it. Thank you all again for joining, and look forward to seeing you again soon.
Coffee stain badge on a lanyard string. Hotel ballroom buzzing fluorescent wings.